yield. Very good. Oh, okay, yes, you've won.
It was good, didn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Welcome to this combat demonstration here at Leeds Castle. My name is Andrew, and just to confuse you, this is my colleague, Andrew. Now, the two of us are clearly in full plate armour, however, it's a very specific armour. So what I'm going to do is ask Andrew to talk a little bit about the armour, and then I will talk a little bit about the weapons we're using. So, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. Ladies and gentlemen, most of you have seen this already. So, to explain in some detail about the armour, what you're looking at is an armour that is shiny and heavy. Thank you.
More? Who paid to get in? Yeah, do you want more than that? Yeah. Use long words. Pretend you know what you're talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen, the type of armour that we're wearing are replica armours based on originals. The type of armour is known as tonlet armour, and they are sporting bits of kit. They would never have been used on the battlefield for a number of reasons. One, they are too heavy and too cumbersome. The armours that Andrew and I are both sitting in are about 120 pounds, so 8 stone. I used to be 6'3". However, the other thing about these armours is that the weight was there specifically, because being sporting bits of kit, they weren't designed to kill each other on the battlefield and be mobile. They were designed to take punishment, knock 10 barrels out of each other, and then laugh in the feast later at how you nearly died. And then eat venison. So the idea with these tonleted armours, the tonlet refers to the skirt, is that you are incredibly well protected. With that protection, of course, comes a lack of mobility. But still you are expected to show the skills of a battlefield warrior. Be able to cut and thrust for those areas in which would be vulnerable on the battlefield. So I'm going to talk Andrew a little bit about the sword that we're using, some of the techniques that were available. Then we'll have another big old kick-off, and then we'll all go and watch the jab. Right. Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. So, a two-handed sword. Why is it known as a two-handed sword? Quite simply because it's used with two hands. Now, it is well balanced enough that you could use it with one hand. However, you do deliver much more concussive blows with two hands. So how do we know how it was used? Well, we've looked at a manuscript written by a man by the name of Mr. Hans Talhofer. Now, not a great deal is known about the man himself. However, he did leave behind a number of manuscripts. He has 5 in total. However, we looked at one in particular from 1467 entitled Fettbook. And within this manuscript, it has many techniques when using this weapon. So the weapon itself is divided into 3 parts: top, middle and bottom.
Well done. They're glad they paid money for that.
No, the whole weapon is used aggressively. Not just the blade for hacking and slashing, but also you can use the sword with a hand on the blade. This is known as half swording. So you've got one hand halfway up the blade, one hand on the handle. That way you can use it like a bayonet to get into the weaker areas of a man's harness there. Also, if you're using your hand on the blade, it's not going to cut you, providing it doesn't slide. So if it doesn't cut you, you could also put 2 hands on the blade and use the other end like an axe. Obviously, with or without a helmet, I suggest it will cause a certain degree of disorientation. It can also be used across to pull them off guard, strip them up, and of course the pommel can be used to flatten their nose with as well. This is where the phrase to give someone a good pommeling comes from. A counterweight to the blade there, the pommel. So what we'll do now is walk and talk through, when he wakes up, the fight that we just showed you earlier, explaining some of our techniques explaining what we're trying to do to each other, both in attack and defense.
Work, monkey, work.
Now, in reality, a real fight is over very quickly. The techniques, many of them, showing how you can defend and kill all at the same time. However, if we were to do this, you would have a one-move fight and a dead person in the middle of the arena. And I'm sure you'd feel rather cheated. So what we've done is strung together a number of techniques into a routine so that we can better highlight to you, the visitor, how the sword works. So, Andrew.
Yeah, quite happy. Right, so at the beginning, I took up a stance with the sword in the high line, for whatever better word. And the reality of this blow is that I will be trying to aim just underneath his knee, go through the tendon of his knee and out through the kneecap. However, not with this armour. But that's the target I'm going to go for.
So, having redirected this, keep the energy going, cut round and cleave his leg off just below the knee.
Drop my hand, come straight down for the head.
Sloping parry here, encouraging my opponent's blade to the ground, keep the circular motion and remove the head.
Step back, using the strongest part known as a forte, knock up, look for a target and slice open that squidgy midrib.
Jumping back, protecting the very taut six-pack there. Now, having done that, this half-swording technique, one hand on the blade. Basically, put the point of my sword into Andrew's right eye. It's running away like a girl, so keep the attacks coming. Flip over to the other side, try that.
Enough of defending, I'm going to do what's known as a glide. Send the sword all the way down and take off Andrew's opposable thumb. Without the thumb, there is no grip. However, physics dictates this usually happens. Sword flicks out away. Point of the sword, thrust again straight towards Andrew.
Feet this aside, cut down for the head.
Okay, coming in. Now, I've closed on Andrew. Now, when you get this close to an opponent, one of two things always happens. Either kiss and make up. I don't think
No.
Or things that you see in jiu-jitsu, any holds or breaks, would also be available there. However, I've gone past, and I'm going to make a cut for his neck.
Now, having defended that, several options, but I showed you one earlier. If he wasn't wearing armour, I could grab his blade, use it together with mine, stepping in like a pair of scissors to remove the jugular there. However, it does, of course, depends on who takes the advantage.
So we're kind of giving you a sort of a flavour. What we'll do now is we'll do, well, we did two sections. Should we finish off? This is our very last performance, ladies and gentlemen. We have done 15 and we're on the verge of falling over. So we'll give it one more go. We'll give one extra section. So we'll do 3 sections. Andrew, if you don't mind, I might change the endings a bit, but let's see how it goes. And if maybe you can come up with something entertaining but also historically correct for the final section, that would be good.
God willing.
Right. Anyway.
Don't get killed, you owe me a fiver.
I was going to say, ladies.
No. Fighting, not talking, that's what we want.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That does end our combat display. Hello. That does end our combat display. But from myself and Andrew, we do hope you thoroughly enjoy the remainder of your day here at Leeds Castle. If anybody wants to hold the sword, that is possible. However, this is a real sword. So if you get to hold it, keep it still, keep the point up to the sky or down to the ground. Don't turn to a family member too quickly. Don't stab your brother with it. But from Andrew and myself, thank you very much.
Right, you alright? Just get our helmets off and our gloves off, and then we'll show you the sword. Okay? I love your kit. It's really handsome.